Hey guys, welcome to a special episode of AI Automate Scale, where we explore how smart agency owners are building businesses that scale without the chaos. My name is Cody. I'm one third of this podcast show, and I've got to tell you, I've been looking forward to this conversation for weeks already. Today's guest is one of my VIP clients, Paolo Gullo from Asphalt Marketers. And we've been working with him together with his brother, Greg Gullo, for over a year already, where we started with appointment funnels and finally got even a chance to meet him in Miami together with his brother a couple of weeks ago during our 7FA intensive workshop, my visit in the US. Paolo and Greg have built something special. They scaled their agency to seven figures, but what really caught my eye is how they started their appointment funnel using the seven-figure agency framework. So they got this structured follow-up sequence where they consistently close deals. In addition to this, they've also got this big win of having a custom CRM that was built for asphalt contractors that centralized jobs, improves handoffs, and boosted close rates. So we're able to unpack all of it, the wins, the aha moments, and of course, practical strategies and best practices that you can also implement in your agency. And without further ado, we got here Paolo Gullo from Asphalt Marketers. Hi there, Paolo. How are you?
Hi, Cody. Thank you for having me on today. And hi, everyone.
All right, cool. So if you could briefly share what you guys do, what does Asphalt Marketers, what you and Greg do?
So, obviously, we're a niche focused agency, digital marketing agency, full service digital marketing agency, solely focused on the asphalt industry, specifically for asphalt paving and asphalt maintenance contractors throughout Canada and the United States.
Okay, cool. That's good. All right. And I remember it was also like several a couple of incentives before that you were also awarded in the seven-figure agency community. When was that?
Yeah, I believe a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we hit the seven figure mark. We more than doubled the business from when we
Wow.
started with 7FA. And then since then we grew beyond seven figures. Yeah, so that was exciting time.
Cool. That's great. And it was a couple of weeks ago that we were able to finally meet in Miami after online Zoom meetings, but focusing on the intensive. What do you think were maybe like two or three key takeaways during the event with Josh Nelson and the rest of the gang from Seven Figure Agency?
Yeah, so we haven't missed one intensive since we joined, and the reason why is because um, it helps reinvigorate your agency for each quarter, or let's say each every 4 months, because three times a year, right?
Right.
And one of the biggest takeaways we usually get is realizing what we actually need. Like we're going there thinking we need something, but then by the time it's done, we realize what we need to focus on when we leave there. And it gives us that clarity so that we can execute on it, so that we can grow our agency over the next 4 months until the next intensive and so on. And a big one is like a lot of the conversations that happen
Mm,
um, with the other members,
right.
on the breaks, at lunch, at dinner time, at the
Right.
bar in the hotel lobby, like stuff like that. So there's so many aha moments. It's like it's even hard to choose what one thing it is that you can take away from these
Overwhelming.
events. It's very overwhelming in a great way.
Mm-hmm.
But I always find that the biggest takeaway is, although we're learning all kinds and we've got so many takeaways, we're able to like jot it down on paper at the
Mm,
end of the intensive and really plan out what our priorities are, what we need to focus on over the next 3 months. We can't do everything, right?
exactly. Right.
So we need to focus on what our agency actually needs to take it to the next level, and
Right.
let's focus on those, three or four projects, maybe five, over the
Yeah.
next 4 months, right?
Right, right. I really like that. I can really relate. What I really love is actually the structure. So I was honestly also like intentionally not making any sort of follow-ups just a week after because things can be overwhelming just a week. But going back to the incentive event, I guess one of the things that I really love is would be the latter part where we have when Josh and Yesenia was asking us to write things down on that huge sheet how basically a next X number of months will look like to us. And then it's where everyone is fresh in terms of ideation, in terms of learning. And just a week after is where we're still kind of hyped up from the event. And that kind of is, I would say, a dopamine trigger, I guess. Um, in terms of getting started, really taking action and execution. So let's kind of also talk about I guess we've started working the second quarter of last year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe it was I can't remember second quarter or maybe the
March,
beginning of the third quarter.
right?
Could have been.
Marchish, Aprilish, Juneish, I guess, somewhere along
Yeah,
those.
for some reason I remember summer, but I'm not sure. I can't
Yeah,
remember
right.
100%.
Yeah, I was actually in Thailand when I got you as a client.
Yeah,
I guess yeah, May, June. We were even joking around when you mentioned that I was a jet setter. I am right now. Now that I know I've got outside of Southeast Asia, I've seen how beautiful the United States is, specifically Miami. I guess next time we gotta try other states. I even wanted to try Canada. But going back on your agency journey, how are things before working with us, basically before you have not implemented the appointment funnel snapshot, the high level 7FA framework? What was agency life with Greg back then?
so we always knew we needed some type of automation, CRM, all type of stuff. We were actually using Keep, which was formerly Infusionsoft for a long time, but we barely used it as it should have been used.
Mm,
Meaning, like we basically use it for like invoicing and collecting payments, and that's
right.
it. Like it was like total waste of money. But again, that's on us, right? Not so much the platform itself. Um, so in terms of like, appointment funnels and all that stuff, we didn't have none of that. Like we would be having everything like on a spreadsheet or like
Mm,
who are our prospects,
I remember.
follow-ups, like checking our maybe searching in our inbox for a prospect. What happened with this prospect? Searching in our inbox, and we're like, oh, okay, the last time we reached out was then. Let's reach out again and stuff like that. It was just all over the place.
Right.
Like there's nothing consistent at all. Yeah, that's how it. I don't even know. Like, I don't even want to think about it. It's
Yeah.
almost like it's embarrassing that we even had it like that,
Right.
right?
I remember that conversation. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, we need to do something. And then we when we joined 7FA, a lot of the members were talking about high level. That's how we found out about high level. So we're like, okay, well, let's get this high level. So we signed up a high level, and we were paying monthly to high level for several months,
Yeah.
and we did nothing. We didn't. We I don't even think we logged in for more than like 20 minutes at the
Hmm.
beginning. And we're
Right.
like, okay, well, now what? And we're like,
You gotta
you know
audit
what?
your
We
tools. Come on.
Yeah, I know. The issue is we know we need it. We know what we need, or we learn what we need, and we're like, okay, that makes sense for us. Let's get it. The issue we had, and it's our own fault, is we knew that we wouldn't be able to like actually work in these tools or develop them, and we had to get someone to do it for us.
Right.
Otherwise, we would just be we'll go another. We would have probably been another year with just
Mm,
paying high level without using it if we
right.
didn't find you then, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So yeah, it was since then that we've also worked closely. And to be completely honest, there were tons of aha moments as well. And I guess that's one of the things that I really love about the community. As it's like getting a best practice from one client, from one 7FA member to another. If this one's working for client letter A, It is something that we can even test for client letter B. So it's like we're also sharing snapshots, best practices.
Yes.
I think that's the low hanging fruit. So if I may kind of share, it's like a win-win for everyone. Not only that we're part of a community which is very, very heavy when it comes to positive culture, it kind of makes us efficient. Basically, like we're not really hiding best practices from one another. Go high level snapshots to be exact. We're very open to also share it for anyone else. So our wins could also be the wins of other people since we're sharing snapshots, templates, best practices. And yeah, we've been learning since then. So Um, what do you think would be the next step for you or the next big technology innovation you think you wanted to deploy? And that also concerns me for me to know how else to help you, right? But what do you think is that thing? I know we've got the appointment funnel snapshot, we got the CRM. I still owe you how additional CRM support would kind of look like. But what's that next big thing for the next 30 to 60 days would you
Yeah,
think would deploy for your agency?
yeah, like aside from like, the appointment funnel, which and the appointment funnel, once we set it up, like we did like I know we worked with your team to kind of get it to the point it's at today because we get these ideas as we go along. We're like, what if we add this in there? And what if we add that can make it better, right? For example, like when we added the two pipeline stages um, for the value video, because one of the
Mm,
strategies is when you're prospecting is telling the prospect, we created this video for you about your specific to your business.
mm,
Would you like me to send it to you? And when and by doing that, we're like, they'll be like, yeah, send it to me. And then we have that pipeline stage that says value video requested. So now we have that prospect moved into there so that we can keep track that we have to create that value video.
yeah,
And then once a value video is created, we copy and paste the link into the contact card of the Loom video so that the email gets sent out and it actually sends the GIF of the video in the email as well as a link to the Loom,
right.
which was a cool thing that we added. Little thing, but it actually works well.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, we did the webinar funnel, we did the podcast funnel, we did the book funnel, right?
Right.
We're still kind of tweaking our onboarding funnel, like the
Mm-hmm.
whole sequence. But beyond that, like going forward, um, well, we have to switch over from Keep for our invoicing and all that type of stuff, right?
Right.
So that's one thing, but that's a given. Something
Or what do you
something
think?
bigger.
Yeah, let me rephrase. What do you think is the next out of the box use case or scenario use would be I mean, what's that out of the box use case or scenario wish list that you have? I'll rephrase it that way.
Yeah. Um, like because AI is becoming
There you go.
the
I was waiting
hottest
for
topic,
that.
we need to integrate a lot of AI into
Right.
our agency and into our clients' businesses,
Exactly.
especially if we want to survive this next era,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Um, I don't believe that AI is going to wipe out agencies
It would never.
because the traditional businesses are not going to have the know-how or time to
Mm-hmm.
learn AI or implement it. So they're still going to come to agencies for that help. They're still going to
Exactly.
need us to
Right.
implement it all, to still do their marketing, even if marketing has a lot of AI behind
Yeah.
it to help get the results and stuff like that. We still have to implement it into our clients' businesses. So I think that's where it's going. Like so, the automation of the CRM, but we need to integrate a lot of AI,
Exactly.
like like
Right.
like AI agents and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? Is a
I
big
agree. I
one.
agree. And I'm actually like smiling right now. You know
Yeah.
why? Because I was actually waiting for that. The reason why I kind of need to rephrase my question. I was supposed to even give you a hint. I wanted to kind of interrupt a bit and tell you it starts with the letter A. So
Yeah.
good thing that you've
Well,
already mentioned
I
it,
didn't get no hint. But you
right?
know what? That's where the conversation led because you still need all
Yeah,
those funnels, right? Like we still need to do the webinars. Like,
right.
can we get AI to do a webinar? Yeah, you can probably get an AI to do a webinar eventually, right? But we like to be a little bit more authentic and still be on those webinars and do that. But the AI can help with creating
Exactly.
the curriculum, the education, the content, the
Correct.
slides, all that type of stuff, right? But yeah, same with the book funnel. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we did the book, right? In
Even the
future, AI
briefing of this, right?
100%.
Even the
There's
copy of of our emails, even the copy of our own funnels. And what's
yeah.
interesting enough, because I was also in Dallas a week before I met you guys in Miami. Go High Level just got tons of AI features to be rolled out. Some are still are not live just yet, but I just cannot imagine how at the end of this year I won't even get surprised that now that Black Friday Thanksgiving is upcoming, I would get surprised if there's like an additional add-on from a marketplace, which involves AI as a product. I mean, it's a possibility. So this we're kind of nearing this is like two or three last questions, but not my intention to kind of spark a debate here. But what do you think, or what can you say about other people? Could be other agency owners, could also be other maybe normal citizens, regardless whether from the U.S., Philippines, Pakistan, India. What do you think of the so-called saying that AI will be replacing jobs of people?
Um, where I think it's going to replace jobs is it's going to make people way more efficient to get a
Mm,
lot more done, meaning a lot of businesses, corporations don't need to hire as many employees
right.
as they grow because each employee is going to be able to utilize AI to get a lot more done, right? Where if a company had, like, let's just say for number sakes, 10 employees
Mm,
writing content manually,
right.
right? Well, today you could probably do that with two or three who use AI and then just proof it, make some tweaks, and that company just saves 70% of their costs.
Mm, agree.
So that's where it can kind of replace employee in that sense, meaning companies are not going to hire as much
Mm-hmm.
like before. So it's like a bittersweet. Like AI is going to
Right.
do a lot of great wonders, but it's also going to affect a lot of industries. And then then there's the whole underground world that's going to probably use AI to
Mm,
take advantage of people, which I don't even want to talk about that. But yeah, so that's where I see it. It's still so new, we don't know.
exactly. Right.
Like we just don't know.
And
We're
things are
just
just
speculating.
right. Things are just very quick because it was like two, 3 years ago, safe number, that we don't have AI existent. And who would have thought that in a span of 2 to 3 years time, there's just a lot of AI tools out there. But a key word that you've mentioned, or a word that you've mentioned is bittersweet, because I kind of agree. True enough that not even potentially, but it's a reality that's happening right now where people would really lose jobs, right? However, um, us, you being on the digital marketing space, us being on the AI and automation space, and I remember we were talking in Miami where you and Greg also wanted to plan to have to set up a coaching program for your target market. That, on the other hand, is a huge opportunity for us as coaches to actually even teach other people, right? It's just a matter of how people would embrace innovation because at the end of the day, it's still technology, right? So
Mhm.
that, on the other hand, or in return, while it can remove jobs from other people, these people, for me, this is just my own opinion, rather getting that mindset that they will be losing their job, it's high time for them to also stay on trends, also learn new skill sets. At the end of the day, I mean, the only way for us to really be successful day after day is to fail and then learn from the failure and keep on, as what 7FA shared or has been mentioning, sharpening our iron. And that also includes learning the likes of AI. All right. So, lastly, um, as a closing question, where do you think you would see your company or asphalt marketers 5 years from now? And how do you think would hmm, how do you think would AI, or how do you think asphalt marketers how does asphalt marketers will look like 5 years from now as a company who's also heavily using AI? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um, I One of my goals, because I've been digging into this AI stuff a lot lately,
Hmm.
trying to figure out, do we use the tools that are already available to us and integrate them? Do we do a complete build out from scratch, like create our own AI
Hmm.
and all that stuff? So rather, so I don't know, maybe in 5 years from now we can probably. I'm not even gonna look at like building it from scratch now,
Likely
but
we've got
maybe in five
templates.
years. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But maybe in 5 years, we'll like once we've tested out the templates, once we've tested out the tools we have, maybe we'll create our own to function and a little bit better, like if we have
Hmm.
ideas and stuff like that. But I see our agency fully into like AI fully integrated into our agency and all our clients' businesses.
Right.
That's one goal we have. I want all our clients to have AI implemented into their businesses, including the automation of the CRMs and the
Right.
marketing and everything, as well as for our own agency. Um, that's what I see in 5 years, and also, our goals is to be an 8-figure agency by then,
Right. Yeah, cool.
and then
So
we'll see. Like when that time comes, our mind will be different. Everything will be shifted, right? So we'll make a
it's
different
indeed a
decision.
possibility. Who God
Yeah,
knows, like 2, 3, 5 years from now, it's our time to also talk in front of the seventh
yeah,
day, right? It's well right now we're still learning from Tony Ricketts, from Chris. But I guess let's give it, 2, 3, 5 years. I even remember you challenging me on my own ARR or MRR on how my 2026 will look like. And of course, as partners, uh, we are here to help out each other to actually reach our goal. And again, who knows? It will be us speaking in front of the stage in 7FA in Miami. God willing, that might happen, right? Okay, so again, thank you so much, Paolo. It's very, very great to have you on this podcast show. I really appreciate all of the key takeaways, all of the things that you've actually shared us. So again, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you were able to also enjoy learning not only from me, but of course our special guest, our VIP clients, Paolo Gullo. So you can also check him on Facebook. Just search his name, Paolo Gullo. But if you could also like his Facebook page, their company name is Asphalt Marketers. And of course, do not forget to also like, share, and subscribe our podcast show. That is AI, automations, and scale. Thank you so much, Paolo. Have a great day. Thank
thank
you.
you, Cody. Such a pleasure.
Thanks.